My name is Christopher Peter. Welcome. There were many great things that happened in Week 17. But the most important thing to happen was the feat by Saquon Barkley to become the ninth player to reach the 2,000-yard mark in a year where the running back market was revitalized, and the careers of many backs who found new homes were brought back to life. A week after losing their starting quarterback and giving away a game to their division rival in Washington, my Philadelphia Eagles dominated our biggest rival in the Dallas Cowboys to clinch the NFC East with a 41-7 win using two backup quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts, still in the concussion protocol, missed the game. Kenny Pickett played really well in his first start for his childhood team in the Eagles before leaving the game with an apparent aggravation of his rib injury. During his time on the field, he hit many great passes, including a deep touchdown to Smitty. Showed he too can lead the brotherly shove into the end zone. Upon Pickett's exit, Tanner McKee finally took some meaningful snaps in a game. For Philly fans, there are many who are fans of McKee, but he never threw a pass until this game. And he played well despite the limited action. Threw his first two touchdown passes of his career. Interesting to see how much action he may get against the Giants with nothing on the line for the Eagles. The Minnesota Vikings are having the most overlooked season probably in the history of the league. Unlike when the Eagles do well and the national media shows their dislike for the city of Philly, the Vikings seem to an afterthought. Despite having the chance to steal the division and take the #1 seed and bye from the Detroit Lions on the final week. Maybe it is a recency bias under Kevin O'Connell, who has coached his team to good records in the past only to lose early in the playoffs. But this year, the Vikings seem to be a better team than in the past. There is more depth and substance with this team. And they have resurrected the career of Sam Darnold, a former first-round near-bust drafted by the New York Jets. The Green Bay Packers seem to get into these games where they are 1 or 2 scores down only to never make the game closer. But the broadcast team does all they can to make it seem like the game will become more competitive, but it never does. Minnesota led by 4 most of the first half and then started to make their move late in the second quarter. The game ended by a difference of 2 points, but the Packers cannot seem to win these games. The New York Giants had what they needed from this season. In prime position for the #1 draft pick, where they could have their pick of quarterback talent to replace Daniel Jones and change the direction of the franchise. All they really had to do is not win another game. The season has been a disaster. They pass on Barkley, who has his best professional year in the NFL. The quarterback they paid handsomely left to play scout team with the Vikings. In winning, the Giants not only made it likely that they will have to hope that the Patriots, Titans, and Browns do not select a quarterback, but they ended the Colts' hope of sneaking into the playoffs. The Patriots might have their quarterback of the future. Both the Titans and Browns could invest in a new field general to replace their current leader. The Colts experienced a weird season, where they have seen their starting quarterback of the future remove himself from a game. He is still young, and who knows how well conditioned he entered the season, as he was coming off a significant shoulder injury from last year. But the present and future seem a bit unstable in the moment for a team that hoped to contend. The Steelers lost another game on Christmas, giving Baltimore a major Christmas gift. The Steelers have lost 3 in a row and hope to change their luck before heading into the playoffs when they end the year against the Cincinnati Bengals, who kept their season alive by preventing the Denver Broncos from clinching. The Washington Commanders returned to the playoffs with an overtime win against the Atlanta Falcons, who cannot seem to manage the clock in crucial situations. A few more seconds could have made a difference on the game-ending missed kick, but the Falcons still have a chance if they win and the Bucs lose. The Bills made Aaron Rodgers throw in the towel as they raced out to a 40-0 lead. The future Hall of Famer suggested it was time to give his backup some game time just before the 40th point was being scored. Tyrod Taylor led 2 scoring drives. The future of the Jets seems so bleak right now after betting it all on Aaron Rodgers, which cost Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas their jobs. By the way, the Lions won against the Niners, who gave a good fight despite being the only team with more injuries than the Lions. Brock Purdy is extension eligible this offseason and will limit how much talent they can add if they decide to commit to the quarterback who led them to 2 straight NFC Championship games and a Super Bowl. As we head to the final week of the regular season, the Bucs and Falcons will determine the final spot in the NFC. The Denver Broncos will try to clinch the final AFC spot by beating the Chiefs in a game that means absolutely nothing for them. But maybe Carson Wentz can revitalize his stock and play well against the Broncos if they rest their starters. I am not a big fan of change for the sake of change, or in response to an anomaly. There are some people who look at the records of the Minnesota Vikings and Detroit Lions and believe that the playoff rankings should reflect records, overreacting to an anomaly. Winning your division should matter. In the NBA, division wins do not matter, and many fans do not know what division teams play in besides the team they root for. And to be honest, the regular season does not matter, as we can see from the recent ratings problem and the words of their own starts. Winning the division should matter and should get you a home game. If the Viking or Lions fall short of that, then they have to accept the consequence of their effort. If their records is legit, they should be able to go on the road and play a competitive game against a team that may have significantly less wins. Should the National Football League discourage tanking? I do think the lottery helps a bit in other sports, but I do not believe that it completely eliminates teams from trusting the process like my Sixers did. Or still choosing to lose games at the end to increase your odds like many teams still do. As we can see, NFL teams still have the competitive juice to win when it does not strategically help them down the road. The Giants, Raiders, and Jaguars all won this week. A big thank you to all of you in the audience. Your viewership is appreciated and valued. The Christopher Peter Review is made up of the series by Christopher Peter and the Christopher Peter Review. Please continue to visit www.crcreview.com for more. Or subscribe on YouTube or YouTube Music. Thank you again and talk to you next time.